Hey, we are live. Hey,
Hey.
it just sounded like the Doug theme song.
Really? That's really funny. I didn't even think of that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. I was gonna try and tweet, Instagram, whatever, but it's too much work, so forget it.
You're gonna try and tweet Instagram? That is a very difficult thing to do.
It is hard.
Especially now that there's not even a
Threads,
Twitter anymore.
yeah. X, Instagram, Threads, Facebook,
Reels.
TikTok, Reels. So I was gonna try and do it all, but
yeah.
instead I just put my phone down.
All right. What
All right.
we just gonna hop right into the thing or
Yeah.
cool.
I got the cookbook. I can go over that briefly, and
Yeah.
then we can hop into the thing.
You can read me
you
a recipe
Yes.
in a very husky voice.
And next you
with
simmer.
club sauce. All right.
All right, here we
This
go.
nonsense.
What did he SM33 keep saying?
I don't seem to remember no Attin.
That's it. On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast, I don't seem to remember no Attin.
You lie.
Intro music.
My God. Feels no good to be dead.
Intro.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Yes, it is.
It is indeed. How are you, Rob?
Indeed. I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing all right. We're Bantha Milk Podcast. We're back at you live.
Yeah.
If you're watching this live. If you're not watching or listening to this live, then we are not back at you live. We're
No.
back at you at a later date.
At a later date. Some other day.
But we are here right now live.
Here.
And we're ready to talk.
We're ready.
Yet another episode 4 of Skeleton Crew. I think it's pronounced Skeleton.
Skeleton.
Yeah,
That's the French version.
It's the long A.
The long
It's got the line over top, the umlaut A.
Yep.
So yeah, and it's getting cold outside. You can tell because it's a little
is.
dreary out there, and Rob's beard has made its return
Yep,
again.
it's coming in because we got to protect my face for the winter
from the harsh elements.
From the harsh elements here in New Jersey. Either that or the drones. They can X-ray through. I don't want them to see my face.
No, you look up at the drones. They look down at you. They go, "That's not Rob. That's some man.
That's
with
some
a
other
beard.
man with a beard. I have no idea who that is.
Disengage.
So
Abort mission.
Abort.
Anyway, so yeah, Bantha Milk Podcast.
Yes,
we're
that's
here.
us. We are here.
Here to talk about Goonies.
Goonies in space.
What do you think of the episode?
Ooh, I liked it. It
I
was fun. Not as many Easter eggs. There was definitely a part that they could have said one of the most classic 80s lines of all time. And when we get there, I will definitely enunciate that.
Ready for it.
But yeah, it's still fun. I think just like what I was thinking before, we're going to be jumping around from planet to planet to planet. But I think this set up why we're going from planet to planet and what the planet to planets are. It's good story building, and this week was also fun because we got a little deep dive on Neil, our little blue elephant friend.
Yeah, they definitely leaned into like you said, a deep dive into the psyche of our small blue elephantine creature.
Yes,
and I did like that they peeled him apart like an onion and exposed all the layers.
That's exactly what they did, like Shrek.
That's right.
Ogres have layers.
Yes. Like parfait.
And so do blue elephant people.
Yeah, man.
Things. I also have later on deep dive about him as well for you. So there we go. I know you're very excited about that.
I am.
Let's talk about all of our friends over on Ears
Steve
Up.
Over Ears Up. I thought you
not
wanted me to
those
talk about
friends, silly goose. Ears Up. Last night, if you go to Twitch, you can see the show that we recorded last night on Ears Up. Every Christmas, they do letters to Santa Iger, asking for nice things for Christmas from Santa Iger. So I was on.
That's Bob Iger, for those of you not
Bob Iger, the head of the Walt Disney Company.
Yeah.
Our good friend RGH from Puny Pod, which is one of the other shows on the network. He was on as well.
Good.
Eric was there, of course, because Eric's on almost every other show on the network.
On the Ears Up a Sphere.
On the Ears Up a Sphere, including Ears Up. Jason and Taryn, we all wrote our letters to Santa Iger, and then they're on West Coast time. So after we read our letters, I left, and then they continued on. But I
And
don't know.
were you a good boy this year?
I
Do you think
thought
that
I was
Santa
a good
Iger
boy.
will give you what you asked
I
for?
doubt it, but I
What did
thought
you ask for?
I asked for him to make all the shows that they promised us and
Oh,
didn't deliver. All the Star
yeah.
Wars shows that they promised us and didn't deliver. I also asked for. I really hope we get this. Star Wars the musical.
Oh, I'm honestly amazed we don't have that.
I so
We
I
got a Harry Potter
we have
musical.
Harry Potter. We have Back to the Future.
Yeah.
There
we
was
have Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. There was Corn the musical with a C.
Like a musical about corn?
About corn. Yeah.
Not like a musical about corn the band.
No, not the band.
With a K.
Yeah, with a K. No.
All right.
There was an
I would watch
Alanis
either, by the way.
Morissette musical. Trey went and saw the Corn musical. It was a comedy because I think it has to be if you're
I
gonna
don't
make
know. I don't know how you make a drama
about
corn musical.
So-
you know, Siskel and Ebert say, "Well, you won't leave without a tear in your eye." I don't know
That's
about
right.
that.
I don't know about that. But he enjoyed it.
Siskel
So
and Ebert, that was a real throwback.
that
right
was
there.
a throwback.
I don't think anyone even knows who Siskel and Ebert
I
is
think
anymore. Are both of them dead?
I know one of them is.
I
I
know
think
Ebert died a long time
ago. I don't even know if Cisco. I think
Roper.
Cisco might still.
It was Siskel and Roper, right?
Oh,
that was the
yes.
next guy.
That was the
who he
next
did
guy
his
took
thing
over
with.
for Ebert. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they did the thumbs though.
They did 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I asked for a couple of things like that, whatever. I thought it was fun. It was a good time. So I don't know.
You need to make sure you leave your milk and cookies out for Santa Iger.
That's right. Just in case, let him get those milk and cookies.
Yeah, and
so
the bag of unmarked bills.
Mhm.
Yeah, just 20,000 in
yeah,
yen.
and that's just a walk in the park.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, so we did that. That was fun. And I don't know when it's coming out in podcast form. Probably after this because we're posting this today. But look for that. I did that, and so we got the Puny Pod guys. Oh no, we got the Ears Up guys and girl. We have Scraping the Vault, which those people are dig deep into the movies, old movies, sequel movies. The Supreme Resort, they compare what's better, Disneyland or Disney World, tacos or burritos, and then us and Puny Pod. I think that's all of us. Oh, and then there's a new one, the something boys, the Buena Vista Boys, Jason and some other guy. I think his name's Mike. They do what not the Supreme Resort, but the other one, what's one that I said earlier, where they watch the old movies. These guys watch
Scraping the Vault.
Scraping the Vault. Yeah, these guys are watching old Buena Vista movies, as opposed to Scraping the Vault, which watches movies that were released directly to VHS or DVD. So all those shows on the Ears Up Network. Check them all out.
Plus, off the Ears Up Network, of course, there is Your Team Sucks
Your
podcast.
Team Sucks podcast, where an Eagles fan and a Cowboys fan argue about how, well, we don't really get to argue this season because the Eagles are doing a phenomenal job and the Cowboys are sucking. So, so check that out. That's me and another
Sorry,
guy.
buddy.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. Hey, it'll be a great idea. The Cowboys are really good. The Eagles are mediocre.
You picked a hell of a year to start.
I picked the worst year to start this podcast. Yeah, so we do that as well. So check that out as well. Oh wait, what was some of the news? Oh darn it! All right, well, there was something that I thought was really funny in the news, and now I can't remember in Star Wars news. We'll skip over that for now. But I did last show. I was talking about the Star Wars, the Life Day cookbook that they talked about on Office Ladies. And look how thick it is, considering that the end of it was different things to fluff. They actually have quite a few recipes in here. I thought it was going to be only like 6 recipes. But no, quite a few recipes. So Nick wants me to read him a recipe, kind of like 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
Yeah, like you have your readers on.
I have my readers on.
You got to like show it to the kids, like show the illustrations.
Hold up the little illustrations for each page. Yes. So, trying to get. Oh, I see why it's so thick. The pages are super thick. All right, we have appetizers.
It's like one of my daughter's books, where like at the very end, it's just one giant thick piece of cardboard.
Super thick
like,
piece of cardboard. Yes. Appetizers, side dishes, main courses, desserts, drinks, or how to celebrate Life Day at home. What do you want? What category?
I mean, we're just starting out. Why don't you hit me with an appetizer?
Appetizer. Yeah. All right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 choices. Pick a number between 1 and 10.
Okay, a number between 1 and 10. That's a tough one. So many options.
Yes,
I could do 6 or I could do
you could.
4,
Yeah,
maybe
they're both
3.
numbers. 3 is also a number.
11's off the table.
11 is off
Let's
the
go with
table.
8.
8. All right. So you picked crab puffs.
Ooh.
Crab puffs. Now let's think about Life Day and if there were any crabs in Life Day. I don't think there was.
Are there crabs in space?
I don't
Space
know.
crabs.
Space crabs. So crab puffs.
That's not something you want to get.
I know. A while back, I found myself stranded at a port on the aquatic world of Moncala while getting with an N apostrophe some much needed maintenance on my trusty food freighter. While I was waiting for the repairs, I ventured into a nearby watering hole and to get myself a bit more familiar with the local cuisine. After a few hours trading recipes with the joint's Mon Calamari chef, he told me about a special crab stuffed puff that his people make to celebrate Life Day. The strange secret to this nautical nibble: the tiny crabs inside the puffs were still alive.
Dum, dum, dum.
Personally, I prefer a tasty bite that doesn't bite back. So I made my own deep fried variation. This one captures the flavor of the Mon Calamari original, but without the risk of any claws up in your craw.
Claws in your craw. You don't want
Claws
that.
in your craw. You don't want that. So 1 pound of lump crab cake, 1 garlic clove, minced, 1 large egg, lightly beaten, 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese, 1 teaspoon lemon juice, a half a teaspoon onion powder, half a teaspoon paprika, half a teaspoon salt, quarter teaspoon black pepper, 1 cup panko breadcrumbs, 2 cups vegetable oil for frying, 1 tablespoon minced fresh parsley. Prep time 5 minutes.
So to be clear, these are just crab cakes.
These are crab cakes.
Nothing Star Wars. These are just crab. This is a crab cake episode.
This is
or a
crab
recipe.
cakes. Yep,
Okay.
basically that's it. Yield 12 servings. Difficulty medium.
All right.
Yep. In a large bowl, combine the crab meat, garlic, egg, mayonnaise, Parmesan cheese, lemon juice, onion powder, paprika, salt, black pepper. Fold the mixture together until
Fold it. You gotta fold it.
You gotta
in.
fold it in until just combined. Scoop and roll the mixture into 1-inch balls. Place the breadcrumbs in a shallow dish. Then roll each bowl. I'd like to say ball. Really funny. Ball in the breadcrumbs. Set aside in a Dutch oven. And we're not talking about that kind of Dutch oven.
Come on now, Rob.
Come
It's a
on
family
now.
show.
Over medium-high heat, heat the vegetable oil to 350, working in batches to avoid overcrowding. Add the balls and fry about for 3 minutes or until golden brown. Let the balls drain on the wire rack, then sprinkle with parsley and serve.
I feel like this is what we need to do with our TikTok.
I
right?
think
we see all
so.
these
Yeah.
cooking things.
I think
We'll just start doing Star Wars crab cakes.
Cameron likes to cook. I think I'm going to make her cook for our TikTok.
love
It's going to
that.
blow up.
And then you know what we can do to eat with them because it was our last day of school today before
yes.
the holiday. And one of my students got me some chopsticks.
Oh, I have those also.
Yeah, I had never gotten. So like if
Yeah.
you're looking on our YouTube feed right now, I got lightsaber
chopsticks,
right? A green and a red. I didn't.
And
know
I
they were
think you
different
can push the
colors.
buttons and they will change colors.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I push the button and it turns it off. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'll have to do some more experimenting.
Yeah,
with
do
that.
some more experimenting because the ones that I had, they went through like 17 different
You're
colors.
still really,
But yeah, that's really cool though. Red and green. Downfall because they're super smooth plastic. They're really hard to actually hold. They
Pick
slip in
anything
your
up.
hand. Yeah, and
I can't exactly imagine I'm going to use them as chopsticks.
no, and
but they are
also
pretty cool.
don't put them in the dishwasher.
Yeah, I can't imagine that would be a good thing either, for sure.
They then just become clear sticks if
Oh,
you
but I
put
have-
them in the dishwasher.
have
But they are super cool. Oh,
two
you have 2
more.
pairs.
All right, so this is
I bet you. Oh,
that's purple.
that one's.
Is that? Yeah, that's blue maybe.
Yeah.
And then this one is not working.
Not working.
Oh,
there
another
goes
red.
Okay.
All right, two reds, a blue, and a green.
There you go. Very
I'll take
cool.
it.
Well, that's awfully nice of them.
Yes,
That is very nice
my
of them.
students know me.
I am cracking open a Dr. Pepper while you drink a Red Bull.
Yeah, today's episode brought to you by caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're teachers and it's the middle of the day.
It's the middle of the day. It is. All right.
and I'm gonna take a sip of my. This gives you wings, don't you know?
It does. It gives you wings. All right. On that note, let's take a quick commercial break.
Actually, let's take a commercial break on this note. Me.
And we're back.
You like that, right? I saw you. You're like, you son
I was
of
like,
a-"
I'll go with this. I like it. I'll go with this. It's wonderful.
And we are back to talk about the skeleton crew,
The skeleton
the
crew.
crew of the skeleton, as it's
Yes.
called in Myanmar.
That's how they call it. Yeah.
I don't know that, but anyway, we already talked a little bit about how we felt. Yeah, I did like the episode. I thought I had parts of the episode. It was like ups and downs. Like I
Okay.
wasn't super into the child army portion of the episode.
Right.
I was kind of bored,
Yeah.
but I did like gleaning more info on Neil.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the beginning when they kind of landed at this new what they
Yes.
thought was at Attin and was not, and we're trying to figure that out. And I did like the end. I feel like a lot of stuff kind of happened. That middle section was just a little slow for me.
Yeah. I the middle section was interesting. Like it was almost like they were sacrificing the new kids.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh no, you're going to lead the charge. Because if you die, who cares?
Yeah, and I my take on that was like, you know, the dude who was like leading his little child army. You know, it's like, you know, I don't know that he was necessarily like a bad dude, but you know, he run. I mean, he does run a child army, so who knows,
Right.
but
He runs a child
you know,
army.
he found these 4 or so soldiers that just wandered in that weren't his daughter,
Yeah.
and so they were like, well, I could send my daughter in, or I could send these 4
I could send
randos
these
in.
randos in first.
So
Yeah.
he kind of saw them as expendable, which isn't great,
No.
but you know, it's not a great character trait. But yeah, it was a little strange.
Yeah, a little strange. All right, so let's break it down. Break it down. In the beginning, I liked it opens obviously, you know, last episode ended with them space jumping to what they thought was going to be at Attin. So they're in space, and this was a little weird. They zoom in on the cockpit, and what's her name? Fern says, "Hey, no adults in the cockpit."
That's right.
Now, suddenly the kids learn how to fly a spaceship, so they don't need the adult anymore to fly the spaceship. I'm a little confused about that because he took them to the rock, to the asteroid, because he knew how to fly. Now
Right.
suddenly they don't need him anymore. I was a little confused by that statement.
Yeah, it seems like kind of a ham-fisted way for the writers to like at the beginning of the episode say, "Hey, this guy's an outsider. We don't like and trust him."
Yeah.
And so that at the end of the episode, they can be like, "Oh, look, he came back and
He-
helped us. We can kind of
We
trust
can start to
him."
trust him now, type
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah, it also bounces off of the at the end of the last episode where she was like, "No, we're not a team.
Right. You work for me.
work for
Yeah.
me," type of thing. So, Wim was sad that they were going home because he
Yes.
sees the planet. He's like, "Oh
Yeah.
man." So
He was in like a little video game yesterday shooting at X-wings with a freaking giant blaster.
yeah,
And now he has to go back to the suburbs and like go to school
go
and
back
stuff
to
again.
school. So it's funny because he's thinking about this as the adventure that it is, but he has no thought that he could die at any moment.
Yeah. And that's
He-
and that's what this I guess episode is kind of does for him. It exposes that like the beginning he is this
Yeah.
he has no idea, doesn't understand the implications of everything, and then all of a sudden he's a part of a child army,
and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute." Yeah.
like his friend.
Um,
They even talk about that at the end of the episode. Him and Wim, how she's like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing." Or
Yeah.
Fern, I'm sorry,
Fern says, "I don't know what I'm doing." Yeah.
So yeah, no, there was some good character development. And
Yeah.
I think that's why the middle felt slow for me because not a lot happened, but they did spend a good amount of that time developing the characters a little better.
Yes. Yeah. So it was definitely good for that. Then the ship suddenly goes into autopilot and they start to panic. And 33 is sitting there and he's like, "Oh, I'll just cancel it and I'll land the ship myself right next to a playground," which they walk off and they realize this is not at Attin.
So your immediate thoughts when they land and you see it's at Attin, but all blown to smithereens. Did you have any thoughts or because like I thought like, all right, are they gonna try and pull some like time travel-y stuff here where they came back and all of a sudden because of the nebula they're in a different time? I'm glad they didn't, but that's
Yeah.
where my brain went.
My brain is thinking, okay, we have 8 episodes.
Right.
We're going to be jumping from planet to planet to planet. What these planets are, I don't know. So as soon as we landed, I was like, okay, this definitely for a split second, I was like, oh my gosh, something happened while they were
Right.
gone. But then I was like, no, this is just they're on the wrong planet, because it
Right.
would have been episode 4 is too early to get to the home planet, even if something is blown up. Like, you can't have
Yeah.
4 episodes of figuring out what happened to your home planet. That's
Right.
like one episode. So I wasn't like, oh, time jump. Even like Wim said, oh, maybe we were asleep for 100 years.
Yeah, and then I did hear him say that, and I went, "Oh, that's right." I
Yeah,
forgot
and
about
I'm like, do you remember going into a sleeping bed for 100? Like, you would have to have put yourself into that state somehow. So then they land, and the droid 33 is like, oh, this is at Akron.
that. Right.
He's like, I've been here before. And the kids still were like, they run out, they go out, and I love
John,
Joan,
June,
Job,
Joe,
not Job, Jan,
whatever his
John,
name
whatever his
is.
name is, it's Jude Law, whatever Jude Law's name is. He was like, ah, it tastes ashy like my home world. So what home world do you think he's from if it's ashy?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Ashy Mandalore. I don't know. Mandalore got
Could
blown
be
to
Mandalore
smithereens.
got some blown to
Jod.
smithereens. Jod. I knew it was something with a
Not.
J.
Yeah, it was. You were close with
Um,
Job.
Screen Crush thinks he could be referencing Mustafar, because
Huh?
not all of Mustafar is the lava fields where you have to have the higher ground if you want to win. The other half of Mustafar, there has been people, they've shown other clips where the rest of it is burnout and ashy like this. And apparently the Sith would take Jedi children there to train them to be Siths.
Interesting.
So if that's the case, we do know that he has some sort of force powers.
Huh.
So that may be a
All
way
right.
that he could be trained
In the Force.
in the
Yeah.
Force, not as a Jedi but as a Sith, but also decide that he didn't want to do that and leave. So
Interesting.
interesting. So I don't know. So it could be Mustafar. And then I liked initiating babysitting sequence.
Yes. Yeah. That was a very hysterical
Yes.
sequence for me.
Come
for
on,
sure.
baby.
Yes. Yeah, I was actually, especially, because we've talked about, I really like his character. I was worried at the end that they were gonna, like, all right, well, we're done with Smee now.
Yeah,
But it looks like we got more of him to come, so that's good.
that is good. So then the kids just run off. Now, maybe I'm thinking as an adult and not thinking as a kid.
That's likely.
And I think that's what they're trying to lean in, especially in this episode. You're on a planet that's destroyed, looks like, and they're just like, oh, we're going to go run around and see what we can find.
Yep.
Without adult, you stay. The adult who can use the Force, we've seen him move things.
You stay with the robot that has protected us on several occasions.
Yes, the two strongest
And will
people
go.
here will go, and adults and robots stay behind, protect the ship. I was a little confused about that, but whatever. I think it's also like me trying to be nitpicky now.
Yeah.
So then they find a house, which looks very similar to their homes. It even had the same mural on the wall, but it
Oh.
was definitely burned down or whatever. And they were talking about the tree and how big it is and how it couldn't have been there. And that's when Wim was like, "Oh, maybe we were asleep for 100 years."
Right.
But did you ever see this episode? Reminded me a little bit of it. The TV series The 100 on WB.
No.
Okay, so uh, people leave a starship, leave somewhere, whatever, it takes place in the future. But then the starship, something happens to it, and it's losing oxygen. They're lost in space. They find this planet that can support life, but they only have this spaceship that can take them down to the planet, can only hold 100 people. Forget the whole premise. But anyway, they send 100 kids down.
Okay.
While the adults, they needed to also free up some space, less people on the ship, so that everybody wouldn't be using oxygen and whatever. So they send 100 kids down onto this desolate planet. While they're there, they discover that there are people living there and all that stuff, like natives who are still, the planet was destroyed as well, and blah, blah, blah. This just reminded me of that
Like
a
Lord
lot.
of the Flies.
Kind of like Lord of the Flies as well, yeah, where the kids were running everything. So, yeah, so when I saw this, it made me think of that a little bit. But anyway, so the same murals on the wall. Job, what's his name?
Jod.
Jod. I have an A in here. Let me change that. So Jod starts rummaging through things back on the ship. He finds the hollow
Right.
of once again
the Christmas
the
special.
Christmas special, and then gold, and he pockets the gold, and then 33 attacks him. And he's like, "We have a thief on the ship,"
Right.
and he's like, "No, no,
The
no."
person I'm now programmed to babysit, which is
Yeah, and he's like, "No," he's like, "It's me, it's Jod," and he's like, "Oh, Akron is playing tricks with my memory circuits," and that's when he was like, "Wait, you've been here? You know this?"
right.
And he's now trying to dig out of him how to get to Attin because he realizes that it's in there somewhere,
Right.
but he's just trying to get to it. Um, Luckily, he wasn't tripping the right circuits.
Right. He didn't know the secret passcode like
Yeah,
Fern knew
like
later.
Fern knew later because
Otherwise
otherwise
he would have been serious trouble. Yeah.
So then the kids get attacked by other kids. This is the Lord of the Flies. What flag do you fly? Um, it's almost
It's a weird question to
it
ask.
is a weird question to ask. And then we are
I'm just
Toki.
gonna start greeting people on the streets like that. Random people. What
Ra-
flag do you fly?
What flag do you fly? We are Toki. The bus that they go into and hide had a broken RX droid in it. So now you're seeing that everything about this planet is identical. So I want to find out like what all these planets,
Right.
because even this planet still had a whole variety of species on it, and the murals and people who were in, when we jump ahead a little bit, in the school,
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of different species there,
The
similar architecture.
Now, the one thing I did read that I didn't realize until I kind of thought back about it, they do have all the same species on that Attin on this, except for Neil's species.
Yeah, we didn't see any of Neil's species
So
on
I don't
there.
know if that's an omission or else we're gonna learn why,
Yeah,
like what happened to. I don't know. It's just an interesting omission.
it was an interesting omission. That is interesting. It'll be interesting if they go to when they go to the next planet, which is what I'm assuming is going
Yeah.
to happen. If there's any Neil species there, so look ahead. Look at next episode. Look and see if we find any Neil species
Yeah.
on
Spot
the
the
other.
elephant.
Spot the blue elephant. So then they go and hide broken asteroid. All 9 planets. Yeah, okay. The enemy has what looks like an old Republic cannon,
Yeah.
which is neat. Ryan Airy said it was different. I couldn't tell that it was that much different. I have a feeling that it was obviously based off of the same
Right.
thing. Like that would why not? And then so then they go back into the school, and at this point, this is when Wim starts to realize maybe my planet's not so bad.
Yeah.
Like this world is a little different and not as fun as my boring planet is. Um, they meet the leader, and he tells them about the fallen sanctum and how hard it is to get there. Fast forward to the end, it didn't seem very hard to get there.
They got there pretty all right.
They
Yeah.
got there pretty okay. But if they train with them, they will take them there later to the fallen sanctum because it is so hard to get there. And then we go cut back to Jod and SM-33 walking down the plank. Did you notice that 33 saw the war? He could see the warriors through the clouds. So his one eye,
Oh.
because he said something like, "Oh, looks a lot like those warrior. I saw those warriors before when I was here."
Right.
And then Jod sees them come out. Now, this was a very interesting scene to me because Jod's standing there, and all these warriors come out at him, and he goes, all right, just
shoot me.
just shoot me." And then he puts his hands up and he goes down onto his knees, and you're like, okay. Once again, fast forward to the future when Jod comes back, he looks completely unscathed.
Right.
I have a strong feeling he did not give away the gold coins to save his life.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like his
MO.
Yeah.
And to also get all the EOP as well.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm trying to decide whether Smeebot like just went to town or else, it seems like the sort of thing that we might get a flashback to later when we get like the full scope of his like powers or something, and then suddenly we see him do some crazy stuff. I don't know. Or else maybe we get a flashback and it turns out he like just lucked his way out of it. That's a possibility too.
Yeah. Or at the next episode when they go back to the ship Are there going to be 30 people cut in half laying
just right there.
just right there? And they're like,
Don't look at them. Don't worry about them.
what happens?
Just keep walking.
Nothing.
Nope.
Just keep walking.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see anything.
There's nothing to see. It's like like a uh, um, sheriff. Um, no, Chief Wiggum in The Simpsons.
Yes.
There's nothing to see here. There's nothing. Oh my gosh, a horrible car crash! Everybody, look at the car crash. There's
Oh,
look at all these dead bodies. So yeah, so I would love to find out. I hope we find out if Jod did something, if Smee did something, if they did something together.
maybe the EOP just kind of
All the EOP just turned on them.
they had like an uprising,
An
just
uprising.
like the droid uprising
Yep.
in Rogue One, or Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the EOP uprising.
Jod has a air breather. He put a breather in. All the EOP all farted at the same
That's it.
time, and everybody
Dutch
died.
oven.
Dutch
Boom,
oven.
right
Boom.
there.
There it is.
Nailed it.
But we don't see if he kills the women and the children. Also, we don't see anything. They just cut away after he says, "I surrender." Then we meet the rest of the army. they start to train them to shoot, and Neil is too scared to try. He says, "This would this right here when they're practicing the shooting." Would have been a perfect time to throw out the line, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid."
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Especially to Wim, because Wim would have been like looking
Yep.
all the wrong places, and somebody would grab it. Oh my gosh, you'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah, it would
Like,
have been good.
that would have been perfect.
But no, they decided with this little blue guy. He's just tells what's her name? What's the girl's name he's talking to? I forget.
I just kept
But he's like-
writing down his girlfriend.
Yeah, which essentially he's like, yeah, I'm a coward and I don't like all this stuff. And she's like, oh, that's cool. I'll show you the really big gun.
I don't want to shoot anything. I'm afraid. Oh,
Yeah,
check this one
out. You'll
out.
really love this. Then.
This will impress you.
Yep.
Wait till you see how big my big gun is.
Yeah, it seems like you might be compensating for something. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Just saying. I'm trying to find out what her name is. But anyway, so then they take him up, and this is another. I know it was built there to show Neil's empathy and stuff like that, but I was a little confused. They go up onto the top, and he goes, "Oh, you live on top of the school. That's interesting." And she goes, "Come get your daily rations." So he gets this slop. There's 2 orphans sitting there, and he goes, "Oh, you guys look hungry. Here, take this." Like,
Right.
so who's getting the daily slop? Only the 4 new random people that come in get daily slop, but the kids that have been here don't. Were these did these orphans, did their parents? I mean, I'm asking questions that we're never going to get the answer to, because I have a
Sure.
feeling next episode she's going to kiss him again. He's going to leave, and that's going to be
That's
the end
it.
of this
Yep.
episode. But I was just like, wait, like, I get it. It was all to show his empathy.
I think you're right. Like we said, like sometimes I've used the term ham-fisted several times, but I think that it's just like every now and then they're just a little clumsy
Yeah.
about like, hey, look, he's a nice guy.
Right.
Look, he's gonna do another nice thing. See, he's a nice guy.
See, he's a nice guy. I think Hana is the girl's name.
Hana?
Yeah, I think that's who it
Hey,
is.
now you're
Hey,
an
now.
all-star.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was like, hey, he's a nice guy. Okay, whatever. And then the training sequence. I was hoping for like a Rocky style sequence where
Yeah.
time would pass.
Get a montage.
Get a montage going. Them doing like barrel rolls
I
and
want to hear
shooting.
a John Williams style Rocky. song,
Yes.
like dun, 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 dun.
Oh my
I'd
god, it
do
would
that.
be awesome. But
But no.
instead, we get 5 minutes of them shooting the gun 4 times.
And then Wim shoots a really big one.
Wim shoots a big one. It's like shooting like a 12-year-old trying to shoot a 12 gauge shotgun.
Yep.
And just we see that KD with all of her cybernetics
Right.
is a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
She can handle it.
Wasn't there also a line about Neil spraining his trunk?
Yeah, she said, did he say something or she said something? But yeah, that was
He said something about like when he was doing something at home and he sprained his trunk.
he sprained his trunk. Yeah, they were doing some sport or
I love
whatever,
it.
and he sprained
That's
his
right.
trunk.
That game that he
The
was
slap game or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. And she was like, "You must have a really weak clan."
Yes.
He was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
yeah, we do." All right, and then we get to the Neil character, find out softer side. By the way, this is what I want to tell you. Trey read an article, so he told me where to go on StarWars.com, which talks about how Neil and Smee are animated for the show.
It's puppets, right?
Neil is a head on top of, sometimes on top of the kid,
Right.
Billy, Robert Timothy, whatever his last name is, Smith, I think. Sometimes he's in there, but there's also a puppeteer who wears the same costume that he does. They did a whole thing about how she like watched the way he moved, and then she tried to move the same way, and blah blah blah, all this other stuff. But the eyeballs are there's a guy with a RC controller, so they move
So
around on
they're
servos.
independent.
They're
Like
independent.
one guy is in charge of moving the eyes.
Yeah.
All right.
The right, the square in the middle of the nose is mesh, so that the person
Can
can see
see.
out, so
Okay.
that the person inside the puppet can see out. But it's a giant, foam head.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know if the ears are also animated or not. But the eyeballs, and they did do some motion capture dots on Timothy's face.
Okay.
So when he is talking, it sometimes helps the eyes move and stuff. And then I think the snout is a little CGI'd as
Right.
well. So it's not fully CGI'd. It's pretty prosthetic with some robots and
Right.
some CGI in there.
And then Smee.
Smee was very interesting. I thought Smee was all stop motion
Yeah, you had
animation.
mentioned that.
It looks very stop motiony.
Hmm.
It's almost like a marionette.
Okay.
There's a guy behind him controlling him
Okay.
with like sticks and stuff, to be able to keep him in the atmosphere, in the in the area, so that they can bounce off of him. And so he's basically like a giant marionette as
Okay.
opposed to stop motion that I
Huh.
thought it was. So
I like the movement on him is really interesting and cool
yeah,
looking. Whatever they're doing, it did look stop motion. I'm
it did
surprised
look
that's
stop
not.
motion to me as well. But yeah, so I do really like that. So that was neat. It's a good read. So you can go to starwars.com, and there's a whole article on how they did both of that. I pretty sure I gave them the due just that they deserved. Um, and then she says his kindness says he is weak.
Or his weakness is what makes him kind. Is that
Right, and
yeah?
but his weakness is what makes him kind.
Right.
And then we also discover at the end that it's his kindness is also what makes his strength as
Right.
well towards the end there. So so then we get into the where the kids are told to lead the battle, and they're like, okay. And you can see all four of them, like Wim no longer is having fun.
Yeah. Fun time is
Fun
officially
time
over.
is over. Um
I want to
and
go home and play Fortnite.
yes, can I just do this for fun instead? I just want to watch my 3D hollow
That's it.
comic books. Um, so they're about to go into battle, and then they discover that it's against Jod, and he comes in and he says, "Hey, by the way, I paid them to give you your Eopies back.
Yeah, all yours. Here you go.
Now,
I just want those four.
I just want those." Um, how did he know they were their Eopies? Like he wasn't there in the beginning.
Yeah, he didn't see
He
that.
has never
Yeah.
interacted with these people
It's
before.
just, hey, these are random people. Are these, I saw on their collars,
collar.
it says,
It
if
said
found, please return to random child army.
to what's it called? We're
So,
Togue or something like
yeah,
that. Please return to the Togues.
that's right. So
Uh,
I think these are yours.
these are
There
yours.
was some mention of a reward. I don't want to be that guy,
I'm not.
but
I'm just saying.
I did put myself
heard.
out there for you.
I did it for you. So yeah, if you could,
Those
you know,
four.
I'll just take those 4 kids.
And your hides, you said something about hides.
I don't need the
Just the
hides. I
those
just
four.
want the kids. I don't
How
care
many
about
hides
the
are
hides.
they?
Yeah, that was really
Yeah.
funny. He's like, wait, how many hides? They're
Yeah.
like, Jode. He's like, okay, fine, let's
Yeah.
go. Or Jod, whatever, Jod. Um, so yeah, so it was pretty funny. I enjoyed it. You see him, you see SM, and then you just see all these Eopi walking
Yep.
by, and they're just like, "Oh, we'll follow you now." So then Neil and his girlfriend have a good talk, and he pretty much convinces her it would be a good idea to bring peace to your world.
But also, I just loved him. Like, you sure you can't come home with us? We have room in my house.
We have room in my house. You can play with my 2 little brothers. It'll be a lot of fun.
Hey,
Come
Mom,
on.
this is my new girlfriend. She's gonna live with us. She's from a different planet.
She's from a whole different planet, so she can't go home. She can never break up with me. She's gonna live here forever.
Oh boy.
So look, when you were 11, you thought the same thing. I know there was a little girl that you loved. Oh my god, It'd be so cool
forever.
if she could
It was gonna be
move away. We'll
forever.
run away together forever. Yeah. So then they convince them. Oh, by the way, take us to the tower. We need to get to that tower. So, cut. They're at the tower automatically. Very difficult
Yep,
task to
it's a
get.
tough one.
It was a tough one.
We did warn you it would be tough to get there, and
All you needed was one star wipe, and
that's
you were
it.
there.
That's all you need.
um,
That's what he actually. At the end of the day, it was like those 4 kids, and I won't need the hides, but just the star wipe.
just a star wipe, please. Thank you.
It's Disney. We only got 29 minutes of runtime.
That's right. So then they go over to the supervisor's tower. They get up there and they notice inside there's 9 towers with the names of all the other hidden planets on it. And Jode realizes that the one that says at Attin has coordinates underneath of it that the little owl, bat, rat, cat, ferret
whatever
creature gave him. And they're like, oh, wait, all of these planets at I2, I'm saying them all wrong, at Arissa, at Arvania, Arvin, at Okoda, all have coordinates underneath it. Let's find at Attin. Oh, there it is.
Oh, but wait.
Oh, wait, there's a giant gash in here. It's been blown. The coordinates have been blown off.
I wonder who did that. It was me.
It was me. I did it. My captain told me to destroy it. And then in the middle of all of this, after she sees this, then that's when Fern has her
little mini breakdown.
crisis of confidence.
Yeah, it's called that.
That's what it's called. I'd never heard it before.
Sure.
I was like, wow, that's some good wordage right there. Crisis of confidence. So she had her crisis of confidence, her little breakdown. And Wynn says, you did all of this. She's like,
you're amazing.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
She's like,
Wynn's
I took us to a
be my girlfriend. Can you be my girlfriend?
You're
Neil
so
has
cool.
a girlfriend and he's an elephant.
He's an elephant.
I've been trying to date you all season. But
Come
yeah,
on,
he
please.
essentially said, like, Talk says how he looks up to her, and she's like, you should have been captain, and look what I've done.
Look what, yeah.
And then all of a sudden she has a brainstorm.
She's like, oh, wait, droids can be tricked.
And we did see her do this to her maid droid.
To her maid droid in episode 1, where she said, I was never here, or I was upstairs, whatever she said. I was upstairs.
Yeah, the memory override or whatever.
But my memory says, nope. So, yeah. So then she does it to Smee, and it almost works. Dun, dun, dun. And then we find out Smee tells everybody how crazy or how drastic the old captain was. Very One Eye Willie-esque.
Yes.
Very even before One Eye Willie, treasure. What's a pirate treasure? Another pirate treasure show before that, whatever. Where the captain kills everybody so that nobody knows where his treasure is hidden. One-Eyed Willie did the same thing. He said that in Goonies. He said, yeah, and then One-Eyed Willie killed all of his crew so that nobody would know where his treasure was. Treasure Island, I think, yes.
Might have been Treasure Island.
Yes.
Oh, Muppet Treasure Island. Also
Muppet Treasure Island. Very good. I started watching in class today. I was letting my first period class, we started to watch Muppet Christmas Carol.
Fabulous.
And then because I couldn't find Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas on Disney Plus. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh my God. You need to watch
Emmett
it.
Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Emmett Otter. It's on either Peacock or Amazon Prime.
I have Amazon Prime.
Go home, sit down with little, what do you call her?
Vanjie.
No. The nickname. Stink. Do you call her Stink?
The Stink, yeah.
The Stink. Have the Stink sit down with you and watch Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Okay.
It is one of the best Muppets, and it's not Kermit's in it a little bit, but it's a great Muppet show. One of my favorites. So you have to watch it.
Remind me in an hour, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Yes, there you go. Google will remind you.
Okay.
There you go. So then he tells everybody how he killed his captain, killed everybody, and told him that if anybody ever comes sneaking around asking him about the treasure and at Attin, to kill them as well.
That was very Back to the Future's-esque.
That was
right. It's like he said, if one day some kid and a wild-eyed old man might come by and ask about this sports almanac, and if I did, like it was very,
like, oh no,
very Biff,
very Biff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he gets taller as he often does.
Yeah.
In
So
these things.
and then
limb from limb,
and then KD and Wim quick hide behind Fern.
Yep.
All three of them are like, oh no. And then here comes the hero,
Here he comes to save the
Neville
day. That's
Longbottom,
right.
throws a rock
That is a big Neville moment.
and says, "I will fight you." Will you, Neville?
You won't.
You won't. And then the Smee goes and chases him instead. Fine, I'll kill you first.
Yep.
And as he goes down, the Jedi does his Jedi ninja moves, jumps over top, and luckily the on-off switch is very
Right on the back of
easy
the
to
neck.
turn off. Click, which we also foreshadowing from episode 2 when
Yep.
he's turning on and off all the droids. As he's down on top of Neil, Neil's like, ah.
He's like, I did it, guys. I did it. He just
He
passes out.
passes out.
And that's how that was.
And that's how it ends.
episode
Roll
right?
credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even get the courtesy of a jump to light speed.
No.
Messed up.
No. So, which is good because, I mean, I'm hoping we see, I don't know, we probably won't. Next thing we'll just see is them on the ship. So we'll never see what happened to the massacre at the playground, which is what I want to see. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was a good episode. It was fun.
Yep.
Once again, you know, and I think we just have to accept it. They're going to be 30 minutes.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, but you know, every new show that comes out, we gotta at least mention it.
Yeah, we got to let them know that we want more.
Yeah,
we want more.
No, it was, yeah, I do like this more than the Acolyte. I think I didn't have any expectations for this one.
Okay.
So I don't know that my expectations can be unmet.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Acolyte, I was very hyped for.
Yeah, because we had all the books.
Yep.
So you read all the books of read all the books of the Acolyte. So you were like, dude, the books, and I read 2 of the books, I think, and they're really good. And you're like, oh man.
I mean, even I don't know. It just this.
Well, High Republic
books.
Yeah, not the Acolyte books, but the High Republic books.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, with this, it just seems like I don't know. There is a difference in this one than we have gotten. Like the Acolyte just felt off.
Yeah,
this feels like I am able to come to terms with what this show is. And I think part of that is like with the Acolyte, with Ahsoka, with all the other ones, we're waiting for people we know. We're waiting to see the big reveal. We're waiting to see how they tie it in. With this one, I don't have really any expectation for that.
Yeah,
I don't really expect them to like show us Luke Skywalker or to like
bring in Mandalorian or anything. Like
I'm pretty sure this is going to be a very bottled in experience
series. Yeah. Almost like for me, the way it feels, and hear me all the way out. Like when they had the new Muppet movies, Jason Segel's first one.
Right.
I loved that first one. It felt like old Muppets again.
Right.
It didn't feel like they were trying to do something. It didn't feel forced. It just felt like old Muppets. It reminded me of how the Muppets felt. And I feel this show is the same thing. This just reminds me of old Star Wars. I don't need Luke. I don't need anybody that I've seen before. It just has that good Star Wars feel to it. When you see the houses look like Back to the Future homes or E.T.'s home, but with that Star Wars twist on it. And it's just enough Star Wars that it's awesome. It's not shoving it in your face, and it's also not, bringing in those cameos or anything like that. We don't need that, and I really enjoy it. Like same thing. I did not enjoy the Acolyte at all. We talked about the other series that did nothing for us, but this one is fun. This is a good
fun.
one.
I think fun is the thing that sets it aside the most. Like the Acolyte had good parts and parts that I enjoyed, but I don't think I would ever have described any of it as fun.
No.
Ahsoka, even parts of it were kind of fun.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian had plenty of fun parts, but like the Acolyte, there wasn't fun. There was intrigue, but like I don't know. I think fun is a good term for this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. I enjoy the pacing, even though, the middle was a little slow this one, but it needed to be to build the character building that it needed to be. So it will be interesting to see if we immediately start with a hyperspace jump or if we work our way back to the ship. I have a feeling we're probably going to just start on the ship with
Yeah.
Neil waking up in his bed and being like, or his hammock, and
Right.
being like, "Wait, what happened? What?" And Smee's probably just like humped over in a thing.
Yep.
And KD said, "Oh, we could go through his circuits. There's only
A couple million.
couple 14
Yeah.
million of them in there." So I'm thinking maybe she's going to try to figure out a way to reprogram him
Right.
while they're on this ship. And I mean, they don't have the coordinates to add Attin. My guess, they're going to go to one of the other planets.
Right.
They have the coordinates to the other planets. They're hoping that they can go back into the same tower
Right.
because everything else is the same.
Yeah. You figure if this looks the same, the other
Yeah.
planets will too.
So go to that tower. Hopefully, SN-33 didn't destroy Attin's thing in there,
Right.
and then they'll be able to get to Attin that way. Now, what's going to be on the other planet? Who knows? Because the guess is that all the other planets except for Attin have been destroyed,
Right.
whether by the Sith or by somebody for some reason, whatever the case is. So, is it going to be all flooded this time? Is it going to be like Avatar, where the first time they were in the jungle, next time they're in water world?
Sure.
So, is this one going to be flooded? Is this one going to be a desert? What did they do to destroy
Volcanic,
this planet?
yeah.
Volcanic, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how the next one is destroyed or whatever the case is. But yeah, so I like it.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Um, so when is the next episode? Is Christmas Eve.
Yes.
So likely sometime after Boxing Day, you can expect us to come back with another breakdown of that. Make sure you check us out on the social medias. Check out all the other pods in our network.
So what you're saying is you don't want to come over on Christmas Day to record a podcast? Come on, dedication, Nick. Let's go.
I'm sorry. I'm worried if I come over here, I'll miss Santa. And I really want to give him my milk and cookies personally this year.
Yes.
Because last year he didn't eat them, and I have questions for
And you
him.
have questions.
Yeah.
Why did you not eat them?
Did you not like them? Did they
What
not
was
look
it?
good?
I gave him cheese. Do you remember that commercial?
No.
For the Cheese Foundation, people come downstairs, and underneath the tree is 100 presents, and it's like, and they were like, "Oh my gosh!" They're like, "What cookies did you give Santa this year?" And the little girl goes, "I gave him cheese."
Oh, I do remember that one. That's absolutely right. I mean, there's always for me, it's always the classic. He does exist. They do exist.
They do exist.
Yeah. Oh man, that'll never get old.
Nope.
So anyway, yeah, check us out a couple days after Christmas. Have a happy holiday season.
Yes.
Rob is festively enjoying with his Christmas sweater.
I sure am.
And from each and every one of us here,
both
at Bantha Milk Podcast headquarters, we have spoken.
We have.